Colts come with pressure, and again it's picked off. It's Darius Leonard. Leonard with his second INT, and he's streaking down the near sideline. He's at the 40, he's at the 30, he's at the 20. He's gonna go a pick six for the Maniac. Touchdown, I-N-D-Y.
Before I'm drowning, lost in this world with these waves all around me, deep in the darkness where it's heartless. I don't know if I can make it, I'll be honest.
Man, what a great week it is starting to be, guys. I hope everyone is having a great week. Football is just getting closer and closer. There's positive developments. There's a lot of change going on. There's a lot of developments, positive developments. We see what the NBA is doing, how great they're doing it. And then the NFL is trying to adapt that. They're trying to get it going in the NFL. And there have been some positive developments, some new rule change, or not rule changes, but a couple of new protocol changes that we're going to update. I know this thing is like day to day, week to week, and we're gonna stay on top of that. I'm gonna try and stay on top of that for you guys. Getting a little started here. Just some like quick tidbits. Last week for people who. I'm not sure if you guys think they were, practicing or stuff like that. Last week was nothing but testing. It was really nothing but testing. I don't believe anyone was at the facilities. Maybe if it was just to get a couple of individual workouts, maybe, but anything team-oriented, meetings, classroom work, field work, none of that was happening. Now, physicals were being taken on Saturday, Sunday. That's just some stuff updated by the team. And then I believe the first practice was Monday. Now, obviously the rookies and veterans, they're all there. I haven't seen anything on the COVID list daily that gets updated, nothing from the Colts. So that is a very, very positive thing. My prayers are up for everyone in the league who has been put on their list. I hope them and their loved ones who happen to have it that they were exposed to are safe and healthy and get better. So those were some quick tidbits for you guys. A lot of people have been hearing about these opt-outs, mainly with the Patriots. We've been wondering, are any Colts going to opt out this year? Now, today we had our first one, and we're going to get into a little bit more about opt-outs here after I get talking about this player, and that player is linebacker Sky Moore. Now, I know right there, probably a couple of your hearts fell right there. You probably thought I was going to say Anthony Walker, Bobby Okereke, Darius Leonard. No, it is Sky Moore. Now, this player is interesting because not only do I think it was a great decision personally, obviously you got to keep your loved ones and everyone around you safe, but also professionally, because we know there is great depth in the linebacker room. Obviously you got the big three, Leonard, Walker, and Okereke, but then you got Speed, who the staff really likes, and I think who can do wonders for the team, and I think he's going to be big time on special teams. Matthew Adams, who's always, had been a mainstay at the Sam linebacker position when the Colts go to that 4-3. And then Zaire Franklin, who a lot of people think will be a practice squad player. Why this was a smart decision for Sky Moore is because this preseason, no games, it's going to be very difficult to show what you have, and it's going to be difficult to show what you can do, and it's going to be tougher to make a roster spot. Now, with Sky Moore opting out, his contract for this year, 2020, will carry over to 2021. So it's a little bit of, job security, looking out for your career. He's going to get a chance next year to possibly compete for a depth spot or a role on this team, because there's still some uncertainty to what's going to happen with Anthony Walker since he is in a contract year. So does Anthony Walker leave after 2020? That opens up possibly a depth spot because all of us assume Okereke will move right into that middle linebacker role. It's definitely possible. But from a professional football side of things, I see this as a win for Sky Moore because odds are you were going to get cut. You were not going to make the team, and you would have been left trying to wonder without a job. And I think now more than ever is when you need security, when you just don't have that worry or stress on your mind. And I think it was a great decision all around for Sky Moore. Those are my thoughts on that. Now, with the opt-outs with the NFL, those will be coming to an end. Not really an end, but there's a deadline to it that the NFL and NFLPA kept going, back and forth on. There is a deadline for opt-outs for NFL players, and that deadline is this Thursday, 3 o'clock Central Time, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. That is the deadline. Now, after that deadline, there's only two ways an NFL player can opt out. And that is basically a new diagnosis or a new high exposure or positive test, and it raises a high risk situation within your organization. Like if you have been exposed badly and they don't want it breaking out, or you possibly, this is kind of new, so I can't really think about any outcomes that could lead to this other than quarantine, possibly out for the year, whatever the case may be. That's one option. And then another option a player can opt out is a player's family member dies, hospitalized, or otherwise moves to a medical facility because of COVID-19 or related conditions. Now, let me say that again for you guys who didn't catch it. A player's family member dies or is hospitalized or otherwise moves to a medical facility because of COVID-19 or related conditions. Medical conditions, that is. Basically, if, let's say, I don't want to wish this on anyone, so I'll just make up a name. I'm not going to, speak that into existence or anything. John Doe is the starting kicker, I guess. And his mother just got put into a hospital facility because of COVID-19. He has that opportunity. That will be a valid reason to opt out for the rest of the year, because obviously you want to check in and day out on your mother, obviously. So that's a way a player can basically check out. Some other roster changes going on that have been talked about for weeks the NFL made official. A 16-man practice squad. Up to 6 with no limit, or with what's the word I'm thinking of? I believe no prior seasons, as in like a rookie. With all this stuff, guys, it's a lot of executive technical talk. I'm trying to put it into plain English. So that's what I believe. A 16-man practice squad. Practice squad will be at 63. So forth and so on. You can protect up to 4 practice squad members each day, which basically, like last year, Pittsburgh signed Deion Kane from the practice squad. You can now protect 4 players from doing that. Like if they wanted to protect, let's say, Kendall Moore, the rookie who did survive the cuts that the Colts made. Let's say he is on the roster, the practice squad, and teams want to go sign him. Well, the Colts can protect him, preventing him from signing. Now, you can do that up to 4 players, I believe. So, moving on here. Okay, reading it now. Starting at 3 p.m. Central Time, September 6th, unlimited players can return from injured reserve after 3 weeks. So basically, starting September 6th, and this is big. Usually when you get put on IR, it's probably on automatic 8 weeks. But if you're put on IR, you can return, and this is unlimited. You can return after 3 weeks of being placed on IR. Now, guys, these are a lot of changes, a lot of rule changes, roster changes that the league is making. Every day is something new. This is definitely something new in my eyes. I've never seen any of these rules come up like this before, but it makes sense because of what's going on. You want to give more guys an opportunity to have a job. The unfortunate cuts everyone has to make. And then you got a 7-man practice squad. Well, now you can have a 16-man practice squad. So it gives a little bit more job security to those guys. Now, getting into those cuts that I was talking about with you guys. Wide receiver, Rodney Adams. Running back, Darius Jackson. Defensive end, Jegeta. Tackle, Cedric Lang. Cornerback, Picasso Nelson Jr. Tackle, Travis Vorenkahl. Man, I can never announce his last name. And then linebacker, Brandon Wellington. Those guys are the ones that got cut. Now, notable names that did survive: wide receiver DeMichael Harris, Kendall Coleman. These guys who we assume will make the practice squad, they are safer right now. Those are the cuts the Colts have made. Nothing more, nothing less. Getting into some more Colts news, because I'm just now getting back caught up into the Colts football, because all today my mind has been on a completely other topic for a college football program that I love. Sorry, just had a drink. Bear with me there. Mouth got a little dry, but definitely getting back into it. My mind was preoccupied today. I didn't even realize the Dallas Mavericks played at 1:30 today. I'm over here at work, working hard, maybe thinking about the game tonight, and then I get on my phone and they won. I'm like, what in the world? Like, guys, that's how focused I was at work today. So moving on here, I believe August 3rd, which was yesterday, Monday, that's when everybody will be in the building. So August 12 to 16, this is going to be the ramp-up period. Now, before I jump into that, August 3rd till August 11th, that is going to be obviously workouts, walkthroughs, all that stuff. Nothing, just getting the basics down, learning the offense, learning the scheme, all that good stuff. That's what it's going to be. With August 12 to 16, that is going to be the ramp-up period. That means now you're not going through walkthroughs anymore. Now maybe you got a helmet on, you're going full speed, you got linemen against defensive linemen. It's called the ramp-up period for a reason. I mean, think of it like two-a-days. I mean, they are just working you, and working you. You're doing team-oriented workouts now. You're doing all this stuff that it's a ramp-up period, man. It gets you ready to play the game after being out and away from the facilities for so long. And then August 17th will be the first full padded practice. Now, obviously, that is when the show really gets started, because from now until then, August 17th, this scouting staff, this coaching staff, all they have to work with is athleticism, your strength and your athleticism right now. I mean, I know 7 on 7 is, good and everything, but man, you got to get those pads on to see what it's really like. It is a whole new game when the pads come on. So right now, it's going to be more focusing on your athleticism, your conditioning, strength and conditioning, all that good stuff. That is when the real work is going to start, and that's when the coaching staff is going to start to get an idea about what do we have in terms of depth. Because when it comes to starting jobs, there's not many starting jobs entering training camp. I believe this is the fewest in like maybe 3 years, I believe. So this is, no, not 3 years, probably like maybe 7, maybe. That will be possibly what? Like the wide receiver, 2 through 5 or 6. I've predicted there's going to be 6. What is that going to be like? And then the linebacker group, who's going to win out of Anthony and Bobby? And then the defensive end spot that Jabal Shear leaves behind. Who is going to take over that spot? Because when these pads come on, guys, that's what's gonna determine it. When these pads come on, man. And my choice, I've been saying it for a while, Ben Banogu is my choice because I just like him. Even if he's maybe not on the field on third downs, we just don't know yet because we don't know what type of pass rusher he is going to transform himself into. He's already a solid football player and run defender. He has better bend than Kemoko Toure. He's stronger than Kemoko Toure. I think he understands run defense a little bit more than Kemoko too. But in terms of pass rushing, I'm really excited to see what Ben Banogu is going to do. I'm really excited to see it. Obviously, you can think of Kemoko Toure coming in on third down, second down, just flip-flopping it. That's what, in terms of starting jobs is going to be. Final cuts in terms of getting your squad down to 53. That will be September 5th. Now, if you do, obviously 90 players I believe it's during training camp. If you do 90 players, everything that you do, including practices, is going to have to split up. Okay? But if you go to 80, that you can have practice all together. But when I say split it up, that means you're going to have double the work, which is what you don't want on any coaching staff. You just don't want to put them through that much more stress. You just don't want to do that. Let me see here. Getting into the wide receiver, okay? There was a guy I mentioned. About, I believe it was last week, DeMichael Harris. I got to, get on a press conference with Frank Reich, and I was able to ask him about a DeMichael Harris because I truly believe in this guy and his ability to make this roster. So if you guys want to, let's go ahead and hear what Coach Reich had to say.
He, like you said, Michael, he's fast and he's quick. I was impressed with him during the OTA meetings. He has a really good presence about himself. You can tell it's not going to be too big for him. So, I've had a chance to see him in the walkthroughs here. He's handled everything mentally well. I'm excited to see him get the ball in his hands. And I know this guy's an explosive player. So get the ball in his hands, get pads on, and give him an opportunity to prove himself. One of the things that, with this new normal we have is the practice squad is bigger. And we always have a view that every year, even in previous years, that our practice squad players are part of our roster because most of them end up being on the active roster at some point. And we just probably feel like that's going to even be more the case this year. So looking forward to see what he has. Looking forward to seeing him bring some juice.
Hey, ever thought about making your own podcast? Well, now you can with the Anchor app. Anchor comes with all the tools you need to make your podcast the way you want it. You can edit your shows on any phone or computer. They will distribute your podcast so it can be heard on all podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. And the best part about it, you get paid when people tune in to listen to you talk about any topic you love to talk about. Download the Anchor app today.
Now, hearing what Frank Reich said, here was the biggest thing I took away from that. The fact that he mentioned the practice squad, which in my mind, he did show his support. He did show that, he's excited to see him on the field. He's excited to see what he can do. I think he kind of, gave us a little hint that, he might need to start out on the practice squad. We need him to develop a little bit more. We need him to grow a little bit more. And they think that he will need all of 2020 to do that. Now, that's the coach. He said that he knows a lot more than me. He's much more intelligent than me, especially in football. So I'm going to go ahead and side with him. Now, I want to discuss, that wide receiver position as a whole. Now, I think DeMichael Harris does have a shot to get this, especially if they're going to carry 6 wide receivers, which I think is a good idea because it kind of concerns a player that we're about to discuss here in a little bit. And you got to be able to have good depth if injuries come up, okay? I think if you have 6 wide receivers, really good standout wide receivers, I think you'll be in great shape. Michael Pittman Jr., Paris Campbell, Zach Pascal. After those guys, we don't know. I'm thinking Marcus Johnson. I like Marcus Johnson, man. He showed me some good stuff. He showed me good stuff in 2018. He showed me some good stuff in 2019 in some limited action. But he did prove that he deserves to play in this league. DeMichael Harris, Desmond Patman, Doris Fountain, these guys. Who is going to get that final spot? Because I firmly believe, and I still believe, that there's going to be 6 wide receivers. That's just how much talent there is. That's how much. Because I don't think you can have 3 wide receivers on the practice squad, can you? I mean, maybe, but having 5 wide receivers on the roster and then 3 on the practice squad. Don't you want to open those guys up to maybe some more O-line depth if you need it, secondary depth if you need it, defensive line depth if you need it, and then maybe having 3 wide receivers isn't that far-fetched. Maybe it's not, but I am really pulling for Harris. I really am, guys. I don't know what it is. Some of you are asking me, like, who is DeMichael Harris? What are you talking about, guys? If you haven't watched his tape, man, just look him up, please. I am excited about this guy and his potential in our offense. I'm just excited about it, man. Now, getting into a wide receiver who has come up with an injury yet again that's starting to give me cause for concern. T.Y. Hilton suffered an injury during his own personal training at home before reporting to training camp, I believe. It's a hamstring injury this time. And when it comes to hamstrings, those tend to linger. Because hamstrings, you really have to have time to get it right. Hurt hamstrings don't like sudden movements. They don't like those sudden cuts. It needs to be strong. And with T.Y. Hilton, especially entering a big contract year for him, he's got a lot riding on it, which I think, you're probably going to re-sign him. When you look at the odds, you're probably going to re-sign him. But, guys, I am starting to get very nervous for T.Y. Hilton. I know everybody, especially when it comes to these Colts reporters, Mike Wells and all of them, they want to run to his defense. And definitely, this is not T.Y. Hilton's fault. This is not his fault at all. He can't determine whether he gets hurt or not. It's about how his body reacts. And yes, he was durable. He was very durable for most 80%, 85% of his career. But guys, these injuries, these lower leg injuries, the lower body injuries, guys, they are starting to mount and build. I believe it was in 2017, I want to believe, he dealt with a quad injury. In 2018, he had that high and low calf ankle injury. And then he also was dealing with a pretty bad calf injury again. He had a 2 centimeter, I want to say. I don't think I read it right. I don't think it was 2 inches. There's no way. I think he said it was a 2 centimeter or 4 centimeter calf tear. And he played through that last year. And now it's a hamstring. I mean, guys, these injuries are starting to mount up. Now, he won't go through any work through training camp or the ramp-up period. I don't think so. I mean, when you're T.Y. Hilton, you've been in the league this long, you've done it all. I don't think you really may not need the ramp-up period. But when it comes to, I want to say probably maybe September. Maybe not even September. Maybe before September, because we're still in early August. And I will add that it is considered a mild hamstring injury, not a serious one. But the fact that these injuries keep coming up for Hilton is what's giving me cause for concern. It really is, because already we're starting it and we haven't even put on pads yet. I really hope this wide receiver depth pans out the way we want it to, because I don't know, guys, the writing on the wall. Recent history tells us that T.Y. Hilton is going to get hurt and he's going to miss games. So, Michael Pittman, you need to step up. Paris Campbell, it wasn't your fault. You were injured last year. This year, you're coming in fully healthy. Hope and pray we stay healthy. Gotta show up. Zach Pascal, gotta take another step further after taking a step further last year. Who's going to be these depth guys? Marcus Johnson, Darius Fountain, Desmond Patman, DeMichael Harris. These guys have to step up. These injuries, guys, especially after last year, I am in no rush to see this injury report. I am in no rush whatsoever. I'm not. I am going to voice that I am worried. I am worried about T.Y. Hilton, because it's just starting to stack one after another. Surgery, rehab. I don't want to see this again, guys. And y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't want to see it again. I don't. Not to T.Y. No, I don't want to see. I didn't even want to see it happen to the first guy. But I don't want it to happen to T.Y. I just don't. I think he is just one of the bigger, most important elements to an offense that there is in this league. And his veteran leadership, his playmaking ability, his ability to get open on the fly, it's huge. Huge. Sorry. I took another drink there. But, guys, it is huge. And I'm not wishing bad will on anything of him. I just really hope. Now, guys, this is reality. It's part of football. You play this hitting game. You go through this grind. You're going to get some wear and tear. Especially on a wide receiver. Especially him that has been relied on for the last, 6 years? There's going to be some wear and tear on your body. But I feel like there's a little bit too much entering age 30. I just feel like it's a little too much, especially on that lower body. So, guys, that's where I'm at with this T.Y. Hilton news. As far as other things going on, I don't really have too much. Maybe some last minute stuff, maybe. Going through my notes here, guys. Nothing really to say. It's just been a lot of updates throughout the league. It's been a lot of updates throughout the league. So maybe some camp position battles that I'm looking at. How is Xavier Rhodes gonna do? How is he gonna hold? I'm really anxious to see and hear about how he's holding up in training camp. How is he doing in coverage against, Hilton, Pittman, Campbell? How is he doing in coverage? And obviously the Maniac, man, he is coming in, higher he is coming in more motivated than ever. And then I want to see one-on-one Quentin Nelson versus DeForest Buckner. I want to see that one-on-one. And one thing I want to get into about DeForest Buckner, guys, I've just continued to watch more and more of him, and I know he was highly touted already in the league, but I just don't think he got the shine that he deserved. I really don't. And of course, playing on a team that traded for D Ford, that selected Nick Bosa, you do get some shine taken away from you. He is going to be the big dog on this defensive line. And the way he is going to elevate this defense, man. And I also want to hear your guys' thoughts, especially if you're listening on YouTube. I want to hear your thoughts about your fantasy defenses. Who are you going with? Because I think the Colts defense is a big player in fantasy. You're talking about the amount of sacks, forced fumbles you got, the interceptions. Darius Leonard, he had quite a few of them last year. Kenny Moore ability, the secondary, I'm curious and excited to see. I think I'm going to go with them. Of course, you got other teams like the Saints and all that stuff, but, it's starting to get into that fantasy league now. Starting to get into some fantasy talk here. So, guys, I'm really excited. I'm really curious to see and hear about your fantasy thoughts, guys. So please leave them down below, whether you're listening on YouTube or if you're listening on Twitter, comment on the post that I make for this podcast, or DM me if you want to give me your thoughts on fantasy, who you're going with. I'm really excited. Just the possibilities, the potential on this defense. I'm excited to see. DeForest Buckner is going to elevate this team. I cannot wait to see him Week 1 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just cannot wait any longer. I want to see him play in a Colts uniform. I want to see it so bad, guys. I want to. Other than that, I do not believe I have anything for you guys. Now, I will say this. I am planning on my first ever giveaway on this show. But what I need from you guys, I need you guys to get me to 150 YouTube subscribers. I need you guys. That is my one rule, okay? If you guys can get me to 150 YouTube subscribers, I will do and conduct my first ever giveaway. And what will I give away? Well, you're just going to have to subscribe to my YouTube channel to find out. Okay? It could be, Darius Leonard jersey, Jonathan Taylor jersey, maybe a Colts football, AirPods. You never know. So, guys, definitely follow me on YouTube. Definitely, retweet this, like this, get it out there. And then, most importantly, subscribe to me on YouTube, guys. I'm sorry. I am so tired. I am ready to go to bed. But, guys, thank you for listening in. Please do, if you want to see a giveaway, subscribe. You guys have a blessed week. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Stay safe.
Heartache took my breath away. Now I'm barely breathing in. I'm hoping, cause this the only thing that keeps me sober. I feel like I'm losing it. Like, what am I doing here? I need you to bail me out.